Hello everybody and welcome to Legal Studies Unit 3, Area of Study 2, the Civil Justice System Part 5. The focus of today's video will be dot points 10 and 11, the purposes of remedies, and damages and injunctions and their specific purposes. The purpose of remedies. A remedy is any order made by a court designed to address a civil wrong or breach. A remedy is awarded if the defendant is found liable for the harm suffered by the plaintiff. The remedies we will be looking at today are damages and injunctions. Some of the purposes of remedies are to return the plaintiff to the original position they were in before their rights were infringed, to compensate the plaintiff for the infringement of their rights if they are unable to be returned to their original position, and to prevent the harm from occurring in the first place or to prevent harm from occurring in the future. Damages and their specific purposes. Damages are a sum of money awarded to the plaintiff that are paid by the defendant. Some of the purposes of damages are to compensate the plaintiff for losses suffered, for the plaintiff to make a point about being legally right and show their legal rights have been infringed, and to punish the defendant for an extreme infringement of rights. Types of damages. Compensatory damages. Compensatory damages aim to compensate the plaintiff for the loss suffered. There are three types: specific damages, general damages, and aggravated damages. Specific damages are for items that can be calculated objectively, for example, medical expenses and loss of wages. General damages cannot be calculated objectively, and some examples include pain and suffering or loss of future earnings. Aggravated damages are for things like humiliation and insult to the plaintiff. Nominal damages aim to uphold the plaintiff's rights without any substantial amount of damages. These are awarded if the court believes the defendant has infringed the rights of the plaintiff, but no injury or loss was suffered by the plaintiff. The plaintiff may want to make a point about being legally right and show that their rights have been infringed, but may not be seeking a large amount of compensation. Contemptuous damages. Contemptuous damages are awarded if the court believes that the plaintiff has a valid claim but not a moral right to claim damages. The plaintiff may be awarded an amount of damages that may be seen to make a mockery of the court action. Exemplary damages. Exemplary damages aim to punish and deter the defendant where the conduct is deliberate, malicious, violent, cruel, or in a scornful disregard of the plaintiff's rights. This is a way for the courts to punish the defendant and make an example of them for the rest of the community. Do damages achieve their purpose? The following questions should be asked. What sort of loss has the plaintiff suffered? What is the appropriate measure for quantifiable losses such as pain and suffering, humiliation, and loss of life? Is the plaintiff's injury such that money can return them to the position they were in before the harm occurred? And will the plaintiff ever be returned to their original position? How effective are damages? Damages may be effective in cases where the value of the damage can be calculated objectively. On the other hand, damages may not be effective in cases where the value of the damage cannot be calculated objectively. The nature of the damage suffered will dictate whether the plaintiff will be able to be returned to their original position. In some cases, Acts of Parliament, such as the Wrongs Act, can restrict the amounts of damages that can be awarded. The plaintiff, therefore, may not be fully compensated for the damage suffered. Injunctions and their specific purposes. An injunction is a court order to do something or to not do something. The purpose is to rectify a situation caused by the person who was found to be in the wrong. Restrictive injunctions stop a person from undertaking an action. Mandatory injunctions make a person perform a particular action. The length of an injunction can either be interlocutory, which is a temporary injunction that is awarded quickly and only applies until a final court decision has been made, or a final or perpetual injunction, which is a permanent injunction granted after the case has been heard. Do injunctions achieve their purpose? The following questions should be asked. Will an injunction stop the defendant from doing other things? Will the defendant comply with the injunction? How effective are injunctions? Ultimately, this depends on the willingness of the defendant to comply with the injunction. Injunctions may restore a plaintiff to their original position by ensuring the defendant fulfills an obligation. Injunctions may not be effective, however, where the actions of the defendant have already caused significant harm to the plaintiff. That concludes today's video. I hope that your knowledge on dot points 10 and 11 from Unit 3, Area of Study 2 have been consolidated. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to send me an email or leave them in the comments below. Thank you.